You ever stop and think about what really makes a relationship work or what makes it fall apart? It often boils down to this one single skill that honestly, most of us were just never taught, but it's the absolute key to making love last. So, today we're going to dive into what that skill is and, more importantly, how you can get really good at it. Man, this just hits home, doesn't it? It really gets to the heart of that frustration when things just go sideways in a relationship and you can't quite figure out why. It's usually not about a lack of love. It's a breakdown in how we talk to each other. So what is this problem that we get wrong so often? Turns out, we're usually aiming our cannons at the wrong target entirely. Okay, this right here, this flips the whole script. We spend so much time and energy trying not to be difficult, right? Don't make waves, don't ask for too much, don't have too many needs. But that's not the real enemy. The real enemy is suffering in silence. That quiet internal misery that comes from stuffing everything down. That's what poisons the relationship. And you can probably see how this plays out. It always starts small. You don't say anything about how you kind of hate their cooking, or that their idea of a fun weekend just completely drains you. But over time, all those unspoken things, they start to pile up. And that goodwill you both had, it starts to dwindle, and resentment moves in. By the time the love actually feels like it's gone cold, it's often way too late to fix it. But here's the thing, and this is so important. This isn't some huge personal failure on your part. It's a gap in our education. It's like a subject they just forgot to put on the curriculum. Just imagine that for a minute. What if in school we were taught how to navigate the messy realities of love with the same focus we put on learning about triangles or historical dates? A world where we were actually equipped with the tools to handle our most important relationships? And that's the name of the class we all missed, emotional communication. And look, it's not about winning arguments or making demands. It's an art. It's about talking about what's going on inside you, gently, clearly, before it curdles into resentment. It's about dealing with things while there's still plenty of love and goodwill in the bank. So if this were a class, you'd get tested on real-life stuff, like this question. I mean, it seems kind of silly, right? But seriously, how many of us would actually know the right way to handle this? A way that doesn't hurt their feelings, but also doesn't condemn you to a lifetime of eating food you can't stand. Okay, let's ramp up the difficulty. What about something big like this? This gets to the very core of someone's beliefs and values. How in the world do you talk about a fear this deep without making them feel attacked? For most of us, we were just never given the playbook. And here's the final exam question, touching on family, boundaries, another potential minefield. These scenarios just go to show how unprepared we really are. We're basically forced to wing it in some of the most critical conversations of our entire lives. But, and this is the good news, it's a skill, and skills can be learned. So let's break down a simple, actionable method for actually having these tough conversations. First things first, you always start from a place of love. You have to make them feel safe. You're not launching an attack. You're just gently raising an issue inside of an already secure relationship. This is huge because it immediately lowers their defenses and reminds them, hey, we're on the same team here. Okay, next up, you just state your position. You explain your need with this quiet confidence that it's okay for you to feel this way. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about owning your truth. This is how I feel. Your needs are valid, whether they're about garlic in the food or something way bigger. And this part is absolutely crucial. The goal isn't to make them completely agree with you or change their mind. The goal is what you might call a good enough understanding. You're just asking them to try to see the world from your perspective for a second and to respect that your reality might be different from theirs. That's it. So let's put it all together. Reassure, state, and allow. It's a simple framework, but it's incredibly powerful. It takes what could be a nasty complaint and transforms it into a vulnerable, honest request for connection. I know what you might be thinking, though. What if I do all this? I follow the steps perfectly, and it still goes badly. That's a scary thought for sure. But the answer to that question tells you everything you need to know. See, when you approach a tough subject with this much care and gentleness, their reaction isn't really about your delivery anymore. It's about them. It's about their ability to handle your reality when it doesn't match theirs. It becomes this incredibly powerful litmus test for the health of your relationship. And it really comes down to one of two paths. Do they respond with a genuine attempt to understand where you're coming from, even if they don't totally agree? Or
Do they meet your vulnerability with anger or blame or just shut you down completely?
Now listen, this is such a critical way to reframe this. If you use this careful method and you get a really negative reaction, you haven't failed at communicating. No, you have succeeded. You've succeeded in discovering something absolutely fundamental about your partner, and you found it out early. And this is the difficult truth that comes with that discovery. If someone simply has no room for your politely expressed needs, if they can't handle your perspective when it's different from theirs, then it doesn't matter how great they are in other ways. They probably aren't the right person for you. So, all of this brings us to the ultimate point. The goal here isn't to become less difficult or to have fewer needs. The real goal is to get better at being a teacher of who you are. What you really, truly need in a relationship isn't to have normal tastes or to fit into some kind of box. What you need is the skill to explain what it's like to be you and to find the courage to believe deep down that you can be your full, complicated self and still be worthy of love. I think this just says it all, really. Being complicated isn't a flaw. Your quirks and needs aren't a burden. They're just you. The real work of love is learning how to articulate that inner world to someone who is actually willing to listen. And that's really the question to leave you with. Can you really accept a partner who isn't willing to try and understand you? And maybe, more importantly, can you accept anything less from yourself than the courage to gently and bravely speak your own truth?